Democrats still calling for an FBI investigation into allegations of sexual assault committed by Brett Kavanaugh 36 years ago, while ignoring calls for investigations into members of their own party. President Trump tweeting, "Judge Brett Kavanaugh is a fine man with an impeccable reputation who is under assault by radical left-wing politicians who don't want to know the answers. They just want to destroy and delay. Facts don't matter. I go through this with them every single day in D.C." Joining me now to discuss the Democrat double standard, Republican National Committee spokeswoman Kayleigh McEnany and the co-host Benson and Harf on Fox News Radio, Marie Harf. All right, before we get to this, I want to play some sound from your favorite Democrat, Hillary Clinton, Crooked Hillary as she's known, and then we can react to that.
You had concerns at the time, your husband certainly had concerns at the time that he never really had due process to defend himself from allegations like this. Have we learned anything over the years about due process, not just for the accusers, but also for the accused?
Well, I think that you have to take each of these situations, sort of on their own merits. And what we have today is a process that has been rushed, that has been deliberately opaque. And yes, there should be due process for everyone involved.
I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I agree with Hillary Clinton. We should look at all these incidences on their merits.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Hillary's the right messenger, Marie, for this type of situation, but if someone had accused Bill Clinton back in the day of any sexual misconduct, with a lot more evidence than what's going on with Brett Kavanaugh, Hillary Clinton was the hatchet woman that came out and didn't believe the women. She smeared them.
Jesse, I think every allegation of sexual assault or harassment or abuse should be investigated. If it's a Democrat like Bill Clinton or a Republican like Donald Trump who's accused. I think that both...
But Hillary Clinton didn't believe that back in the day.
Well, I don't speak for Hillary Clinton. I speak as a Democrat and someone who believes it's important to take these allegations seriously and to give people due process. The challenge in Washington right now is both sides are just running to their sides of the aisle. I mean, the one exception I will say has been Al Franken, who was pushed out of the Senate by both Democrats and Republicans saying he should leave. But Republicans tend to sort of soft pedal investigations of Republicans or explain them away. Democrats haven't pushed for investigations on some other allegations on their side. It's just like team sports, and no one is willing to just say everything should be investigated.
I think what you're referencing is the congressman up in Wisconsin, who I think wants to run for attorney general there, Keith Ellison. Is it Wisconsin or
Minnesota?
So
the Midwest.
Right, and no one believes the woman. No Democrats, according to the latest polls, believe the woman that Ellison allegedly abused in some capacity. And there's not a lot of calls for investigations among Democrats for his alleged victim. So Marie's right. It's become team sport politics when it comes to sexual issues.
Well, I would disagree, because it's Republicans who are saying, yes, we want the accuser to speak. We are giving her a hearing on Monday. We have acquiesced to so many of her demands. By contrast, Keith Ellison, this woman who's making the accusation, has medical records of where she confessed this.
True.
She's confessed to 4 witnesses simultaneously and has text messages. There is ample evidence, but I haven't heard Kirsten Gillibrand or Mazie Hirono or any of these Democrats like to get on their high horse calling that out.
Speaking of Mazie Hirono, the senator from Hawaii, let's listen to some really provocative sound from her.
I expect the men in this country and the men in this committee, and many of them, believe me, because we all signed on to this letter to demand an FBI investigation, but really, guess who's perpetuating all of these kinds of actions? It's the men in this country, and I just want to say to the men in this country, just shut up and step up. Do the right thing for a change.
I'm not going to say anything. She told me to shut up.
Well, for once, Jesse.
But I'm not going to listen to her. Can I just say one thing? When there's a Muslim terror attack, everybody says, listen, let's not blame all Muslims for this one attack. Yet when one man is accused of anything, she wants to blame all men for what's going on. That's not fair.
I don't think we should blame all men. I will push back on Kayleigh a little bit.
So you don't agree with any members of your party? You don't agree with Mazie, with Hillary?
There are more.
Are you sure you're a Democrat?
There are more members of the Democratic Party than those two. But no, what I would say is a couple things. First, we pushed Al Franken out. The Democratic Party stood up and they said, you need to leave. And that was actually a very difficult thing, I think, to do. What about all of these Republicans? Where were they when Donald Trump was credibly accused by over a dozen women? Were there anyone calling for an investigation then? So let's just be very clear about what people do for political reasons. And where we are now in the Kavanaugh hearing is she said she will testify. If it's Monday or Wednesday or Thursday of next week, whenever that is, she should do it. I think she should. We should also hear from Mark Judge, who was apparently, allegedly there as well. We should want to get to the bottom of the truth here. But what you hear Mazie saying, I think, is a reaction to the fact that for decades in this country, women weren't believed. And now, finally, after Me Too, they're starting to be believed. But in that process, people still do need due process. We're all trying to figure out in this country how to do that.
Well, there's a difference between believing someone and then listening to what they have to say.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We will listen, but to be believed, you need to testify before Congress. You need to share details of the allegations. And our party is the one giving her the voice. Where are the Democrats with Sherrod Brown, who there are literally affidavits saying that he committed domestic violence?
That has been debunked by his ex-wife.
From an affidavit. He pushed me against a wall on October 11th, 1986. So that has been debunked. Or Cory Booker, by the way.
Here's the problem.
What about Donald Trump? He's the president.
Here's the problem that I think we believe is going on in this country when it comes to men being falsely accused. This is a tweet from a woman named Emily Linden, and here's what she had to say. Here's an unpopular opinion. I'm actually not at all concerned about innocent men losing their jobs over false sexual harassment or assault allegations. Sorry if some innocent men's reputation have to take a hit in the process of undoing the patriarchy. That is a price I am absolutely willing to pay. That's the problem with all this. If this is wrong, what's going on with Kavanaugh, and Ford is incorrect, they're falsely accusing a good man, and they don't care at all if he's innocent or guilty. It's all about the movement.
But what if she's not lying? She deserves a right to tell her story, and she should. And you're naming people, many things which have been debunked, including Sherrod Brown, but we have not yet reckoned with the fact that sitting in the White House is someone credibly accused.
Several of the accusers.
Credibly accused by over a dozen women, Kayleigh.
Several of the accusers. Let me say
it would make him this kind of the second one after Bill Clinton, who was
credibly accused. In defense of the president, several of the accusers, mortgages paid off. They were paid sums by Democratic lawyers.
Guys,
so there's only 12 and not 15 accusations.
We got to go. We're willing to hear from them.